right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Southern Outdoors. Today's segment is going to be on gun safety. And I've got my friend here, Mr. Mike Massioni. Come on over and say hi to the people, Mr. Mike. He is going to explain gun safety and hunter safety. And I couldn't think of a more knowledgeable man to do it than him. And he's also the godfather of both of my children. So, Mike, I'm going to let you explain hunter safety and gun safety to the people to the best you know how.
I'll do my best. Hello, everybody. I want to start by going over the 4 basic rules of gun safety, and then we'll move on to a couple of other things. Number 1, the first rule of gun safety, and I hope everyone practices this: treat every gun as though it's loaded. Whether you know it's not loaded, whether you know it is loaded, you treat it as though it's loaded, because all it takes is one mistake to lose a family member or a beloved pet, or in case you really want to die, something that belongs to your wife on the kitchen cabinet or something. Experience, trust me. Number 1, the first rule of gun safety, as I said, treat every gun as though it's loaded. That means when you walk up to a gun and you don't know what condition it's in, the first thing you want to do is you want to pick the gun up while keeping it pointed in a safe direction. Drop the magazine if it has a magazine. If it does not have a magazine, open the breech. Visually inspect that there is no round in the gun. Place your finger in the chamber to make sure. After you visually inspected that the gun's safe, go ahead and close the action back down, put the gun on safety, and you go about your business and do whatever you want to do. Rule number 2. Don't point the gun at anything that you do not want to destroy, because it will destroy it. And when I say destroy, because you may not shoot another person and kill them or wound them. You may blow your windshield out of your pickup truck. You may shoot your dog. You know, you're going to destroy whatever it is if that gun goes off and it's pointed at something. So make sure that you don't point a gun at anything that you do not want to destroy. Rule number 3. Keep your finger off the trigger and out of the trigger guard until you're pointed at your target and ready to fire. Then you can place your finger inside the trigger guard and on the trigger. If you do that beforehand and say you trip or you fall or someone bumps into you, that's an accidental discharge, and God only knows where the bullet's going to go. You might be pointed down range, but it may go over your berm and into someone's kitchen window, you know. So always keep that finger out of the trigger guard and off the trigger until you're on target and ready to fire. Rule number 4, be sure of your target and your backstop. That means you make sure you know what you're shooting at. We have a target set up right here. But you also have to know what's behind that target, because that bullet's going to go through your target. You want to make sure there's nothing behind that target that bullet's going to damage, whether it be person or property. I know what's back behind here. There's nothing but woods, and there's a berm about 100 yards back through there with a pond behind it, so I know this is safe. This is my little range here where I come out and do a little 22 shooting and set the sights on my handguns and do a little live fire practice. So I'm familiar with the backdrop on this, but you need to know what's behind your target, just in case you miss. And that transfers over to a lot of other situations, not just hunting. You know, if you're in the woods hunting and a deer jumps out, you throw up to shoot. Well, what if your buddy's orange vest is on the other side of that deer and you miss? That's why you have to make sure of your target and what's behind it. Now, like I said, when you approach a weapon and you don't know what it is, I showed you on the rifle. With handguns, it's a little different. For instance, I'm going to turn sideways. I'm going to pull my carry weapon. It's hot, and I'm going to show you how to clear it and how to check it and how to verify it. Turn in a safe direction, clear your weapon, retrieve it from the holster, keeping your hand out of the trigger guard, down the side of the frame. Drop your magazine. Turn the gun where you can see down the action. Don't try to catch the bullet or anything like that, like you see some of these cowboys do on TV. Visually inspect the barrel to make sure there's not a round in it. Drop your trigger in a safe direction. Make sure that it doesn't go off. Once your handgun's clear, keep your slide back, set it on the table while you're handling or doing whatever you're doing around the firearm. And my suggestion is your loaded magazine next to an unloaded handgun is an accident waiting to happen. Take that loaded magazine and put it in your pocket, get it away from that gun. Now, when you get ready to load your weapon, right now they're set up where you can go ahead and clean or do whatever you need to do. Say you're getting ready to load them and put them back where they need to be. For instance, we'll do my carry weapon first. I'm going to take my loaded magazine, I'm going to pick my handgun up, I'm going to insert the mag while keeping the gun in a safe direction. A lot of people say you use a slide stop or your slide release. I don't. I've always been taught to grab your slide and rack it. That way you can visually see the round feed into the chamber. Now I know this weapon is hot. Finger still outside the trigger guard. That finger does not ever go in until you're on target. Raise your cover sheet into your holster and you don't touch it unless you have to actually pull it for something or unless you're going to unload it. Now say you're in the woods with your rifle, you're out of your vehicle, you've got your orange vest on, you're going to the woods. This magazine is empty for safety purposes. We'll say it's loaded though. Remember, treat every gun as though it's loaded. So we're going to treat the firearm just that way. Retrieve your weapon. Some rifles, you can put a loaded magazine in, fully loaded, and it'll seat. Some rifles will not, because with the bolt closed, you can't get enough pressure off the spring to close the magazine. So what I like to do, I like to drop my bolt, insert my magazine until you hear it click. You'll know it's seated when it clicks. Work your bolt forward, close it, safety into the on position. And don't just go by feel. You look and you visually inspect that safety to make sure that it's on safe. Then you're ready to proceed to the woods. If you come across an obstacle like a fence or post or down tree limb or something like that, if you can't go around it and you have to go over it, take that round out of the gun, or at least open your bolt, climb the obstacle, or if you're climbing your tree stand, I unload mine before I get in the tree. Just, common sense, because I've seen rifles fall, and I actually had a 30-30 back when I was in high school that was propped against a tree, fell over and went off. You live and you learn. Fortunately, I lived through it. But anytime you're climbing an obstacle, climbing into a tree stand, riding a four-wheeler, I know a lot of us like to ride around here with a rifle slung over our shoulders and hauling ass through the woods on a four-wheeler, unload that damn thing. If you reckon that barrel goes up your butt and it goes off, that's going to hurt.
I appreciate that, buddy. I'm pretty sure everybody out there appreciates it as well. When you were talking about make sure to be with hunter safety, like if you're out in the woods hunting, turkey hunting is a big one. I know that from experience. I've had people walk up on me who did not wear their orange vest, and you think it's a turkey because you hear it walking, and those turkeys got a particular walk, you can tell. So if somebody's trying to creep up, they're gonna sound like that turkey. And I'd be at full draw, and then when I realize what it is, I have to put my gun down because people don't wear their orange vest. And that is a big thing that you need to do because it's required by law for you to wear an orange vest. My stepdad, you know him, Mr. Kenny, he actually got shot while deer hunting, even though he had his orange vest on, and luckily he only got shot in the leg. But still, accidents can happen with anybody, but turkey hunting is a big one too. I couldn't stress it enough. Deer hunting, you're in a tree stand or in a tree climber or a ground blind. But turkey hunting, you're in the wide open because you got to walk out there and sit down. You're in the broad open. You ain't got nothing trying to hide you, protect you, or get you out of height, something like that. So I do know that for a fact. Was there anything else you want to add before we?
Treat every firearm with reverence. Treat them as though they can blow up in your hand, because they can. And I don't mean blow up physically. I mean they can disrupt your whole life because of one misstep. So always be careful. Always treat every gun as though it's loaded. Always keep it pointed in a safe direction. And always keep that finger off the trigger while you're moving. And that's it. If you follow that,
I sure do
and the
appreciate
good
it.
Lord's blessings, everything should be all right.
I sure do appreciate it. Once again, this is my good friend Mike Massione going to do the gun safety today for you. He did a phenomenal job. So once again, y'all stay tuned. We got the rest of the episode coming up. Next week's going to be catfishing. We're going to try to catch some catfish for y'all. So we'll see y'all then.